Hi, it's Clay on the trail again. We've come up with my family. We brought our campers and everything to Kelly Canyon in Idaho. And while we're up here, I've been camping in a Hennessy hammock for the last couple of years, but I've been thinking about going to like a Enos or even one of the really cheap ones with a tarp and an underquilt. Underquilts for Hennessy's are so hard to find and they're really expensive. I have the classic entry through the bottom, and they're not made for an underquilt, but underquilts are just so much better than trying to sleep under a pad. I have a horrible time keeping it underneath me. So my son Dustin is in college, and one of his roommates right now had a Enos double nest. It's one of the ones I wanted to try the difference between a single person and a two-person hammock. So his hammock came with these Atlas Chroma suspension system, which is basically like a daisy chain if you're into rock climbing. So you just hook your carabiner through it, get it level, and it's a real easy hang. I saw on the internet that if you can keep your thumb level at an angle, that's about a 30-degree hang, which is what you're trying to have. So this is my daughter's hammock. It's a single hammock, and it's one of those really cheap, you know, $20, $25 hammocks. Getting in a hammock, one of these is simple. Just grab a hold of it, sit down into it. These suspensions are rated for 400 pounds, so they're... So getting in this already, you can feel how tight it is. It totally like wraps up my shoulders, and it's comfortable to lay in, but I can't put my arms up or move around a little. It really cinches you in. I can get a little bit of a asymmetrical lay in it, but there's not a ton of room. There's a lot of calf ridge going on down here, not horribly comfortable. My toes are covered. With a underquilt, it would be okay, but not the most comfortable. Okay, so this is the Enos. It's a double nest. It's a two-person hammock. And this entry in this hammock is the same as a single. Just gonna grab a hold of it, sit into it, get into it. It's kind of doing the same thing, almost. If you get a good asymmetrical lay or diagonal lay, the calf ridge isn't as bad on this one. I have way more room. It still clinches around my shoulders a little bit, but there's so much more room. I can actually put my elbows up, my arms up, and still be comfortable. The underquilts in these, they still cover. They say, but these are twice as wide as the other ones, so there's going to be a little slack fabric to get the underquilts to come up all the way. But this is definitely a way more comfortable hammock, and a guy could really, with your underquilt to go up, could really cinch up in this and almost do a mummy pod system. Okay, the suspension system for the Hennessy hammocks, the straps are way shorter. So on this size tree, which is probably a foot, maybe a little bit longer, this one came out fine. These don't use a carabiner like the other system did. You do a series of wraps over it, and then I just finish it off with a slip knot. The issue with it being, this tree is way bigger, and the straps don't reach. So we got a little bit different tie on it. Now I usually camp in the Uintas in Utah, and we're dealing with pine trees or quakies that are way smaller, so I've never had an issue with these straps before. But up here, I'm not sure if these are willow or cottonwood or what they are, but they're a way bigger tree. So the one cool thing about this hammock setup though is they come with what they call snake skins. So to set this up, you just pull the snake skins back. And everything's pretty well set up. It just needs staked out. So this may be somewhat of an unfair comparison because this one is tarp, bug net, and the whole works. You can get a tarp for your Enos or the other ones, an aftermarket tarp. You can get an aftermarket bug net. This just happens to be all in one. I think this hammock would end up being just a little bit heavier than, well, by the time you get done with your sleeping bag, your pad, or the underquilt system that Hennessy makes, you'd be a little heavier than an underquilt, a double nest, and a tarp. But this is a good system. I've slept in this. This one is my son's, but I've slept in one just like it a lot of trips. We just did our winter camp in them. A little chilly, but need to get that underquilt going. So there's what it looks like set up. Entry in the classic Hennessy hammock is through a slit in the bottom. It's fairly simple. A lot of people don't like it. I've actually learned to really like it. It keeps the bugs out very well. You just open it up, sit in it. And when you pull your feet in, the slit automatically closes. We've always been a little spoiled with the Hennessy hammocks because there's so much room inside of them. Bug nets included. I folded the tarp back, but it covers the whole thing when you set it up right. They're just not made for an underquilt, but they're very comfortable. And I've slept with my sleeping pad inside my hammock, or inside my sleeping bag, and stayed fairly warm with it, but it's tight. I have pretty small, light down sleeping bags, and there's just not a lot of room. Once you're in them and zip them up, that's where you're at. Side sleeping, very easy to do. The calf ridge isn't there like it is in the other hammocks. So comfortable, but I think I want to try the other style. I don't always need a bug net. I can buy an aftermarket if I do need one, and it would be nice to just be able to lounge in it. Or to have your cook stove set up in the morning just to fire it up and have breakfast cooking without even getting out of your sleeping bag. And in this system, you just can't do that. Okay, so here's a size comparison for carry weight for the 3 hammocks we have. Smaller single package, but then you need to carry a separate bag for suspension. The double nest isn't twice as big as the single one, but it is larger and it is noticeably heavier. The Hennessy hammock, this is the Expedition asymmetrical, the classic entry, is just so much more of a hammock. It's got your hammock, your bug net, your tarp, your suspension system, all of it all in one. So that package is way bigger, but carries more. With the double nest or the other one, if you were to overnight camp in it, you'd want a tarp, and then you'll have your underquilt or pad or whatever you're going to use on top of any of these. Well, good morning. I'm just down below my house, going for a walk. I was thinking about my hammock video. I've been trying to edit it, and why did I make this video? Really, because I wanted to try an Enos, and my son had access to one. I'm trying to lighten my pack a little bit and be way more comfortable. So what am I looking for? That's what this video was for. I'm not willing to spend $300-400 on just a hammock, because there's some really awesome hammocks out there. People just swear by the war bonnets. come to mind. But for the price of a war bonnet, one of the options I'm looking at is through Vital Outdoors. I can get an 11-foot hammock with a bug net, an underquilt, and a 6-sided tarp for $350-ish. Or I could buy a war bonnet, a Blackbird, and have just a hammock. And I'm just not willing to do that. So will I give up a little comfort? Maybe. Still beat sleeping on the ground, in my opinion. So I just wanted to throw that out there, because my video for sure is not the know-it-all, be-all, end-all of hammock videos. It's just what I'm looking for, what I'm willing to spend for the comfort that I'm looking to get. So I just wanted to throw that in there.